The concept of a musical album has existed since the late 1940s, allowing artists to put out a collection of works that were coherent, both musically and conceptually. It's arguably the best way to consume a collection of songs. This format is also very lucrative for both record labels and artists alike. So why do labels want to kill the album format? I want to dive into the reasons why I think that is, and also explore the new formats that's being pushed by the record labels. First thing is the way we consume content has changed. Most artists today can't sell physical albums. Most artists rely on streams nowadays. And it's not only smaller artists, it's everyone, from big names to newcomers. Even big artists like Drake, they can't move as much as they used to, physical-wise. The labels realize that for people to buy an album, like a physical album, it needs to be good. It needs to be something that sticks with them, something that speaks to them directly, something of a personal experience. But they're juggling multiple artists and have no time to focus on one of them or just a few and then develop them into talent or hone their talent. So they rather have more artists to gamble with than have a few artists that they focus on and make sure that they put out quality product, quality songs that are going to make an album that's going to be sold and hopefully stick with people, be able to help them or have people relate to. The executives care only about the profits, not the artistry or whoever is going to be big. They rather have invested little in an artist and have them blow up and make a lot of money all at once than invest slowly into an artist to make sure that once they blow up, they stay there. They don't play the long game. I don't know who said it. Probably someone who was an A&R, that for the music labels, what matters is having the quantity, because they know almost everyone on the label is going to be a failure. Anyone they invest in, anyone they give a record deal is going to be unsuccessful. So they only care about the 3%, the 2% that's going to be successful, who are going to be the bread and butter of a whole record label of like 56 artists. Only like 3, 4, they're going to be successful. And so they try to use this to get more numbers, but it's to their detriment if you ask me. Getting back to the topic of the album, why the format isn't as successful when you run business that way. First reason is that it takes time. It takes a lot of investment, not only monetary wise, but investment on the part of the artist. Has to put in more time, has to make sure they promote it, has to make sure the message is clear, is the right message at the right time. Also make sure that whatever they're presenting as their message is something that's going to resonate with their core audience, which is different from something like a single or like a mixtape. You don't have to worry too much about what's going into it. You don't have to worry too much about what producers you're using. You don't have to worry too much about the sound and everything. You can, but it's not necessary. So for music labels, they see something like that where you need maybe these A-tier producers and stuff like that. They see that as something bad, so they have to invest so much money in you. Of course, it's a loan, but they know most likely that you will falter on that loan, since the chance that you are in the 3% that's going to be successful is very low. So they try to have artists put out something that's low investment effort, because they know if it's successful, okay, we invested little. If it's not, okay, we don't lose anything. To me, most albums that came out in the late 2010s are more like playlists than albums, let alone one with intent other than commercial. It's rare to find a coherent project. The playlist format is obviously more suited for streaming than the album ever was. We have entered a new paradigm, and I think we should change the way we view music reviews, as well as judge the merit of a musical collection of songs. I'm not gonna call it an album. We don't have to judge these playlists as the way we used to judge albums, on those characteristics like coherence, message, theme, all those things. They go out of the way. It's more of the experience wise, the personal experience. That's what I'm talking about. Like the way in which you can take an album and take a few songs from it and make yourself your own version of that album. I think that's the new paradigm we're in. We shouldn't judge an album as the whole body, because that doesn't work anymore. And especially the smaller artists, they know this. You don't have... I made a video a few months ago talking about how like our albums have gotten longer, and it's all in this new wave where you have to give as much as possible diverse music to the audience, to your listeners, and they have to pick whichever ones they like the most and make themselves their own playlist, and that will be the version of the album for them. And that's why I think like judging like an album, like trying to review it, saying, oh, this whatever, if you have skips for yourself, you're going to remove them anyways. If you don't like this song, you're going to remove it. If you like this but not that much, you're going to put it maybe on your version 2 of the album, or version 3 of the album. So I don't think it's that much important now to review music as we used to, but more so that we have to change the way we review and view a musical album for the reasons I've already mentioned. Now, you can take an album with 24 tracks, since that's what most albums are coming out with, even those from artists that have no business making an album with 24 tracks, where like it's only like 3 songs that keep repeating over and over again, since they're just like rehashing whatever they've said. They don't have content. But if you take an album like that, you might find like maybe 2-3 tracks you like, but if it's a good, well thought out new type of album, you'll find at least some good 7 to 8 tracks that might stick for everyone, and they're going to be different. That's why I don't say like we should judge a collection of songs as we used to judge albums. You should consider it as per song basis, to where you just, okay, this song, I like this song, I don't like this song, and at the end you collect whichever ones you like. That's your album. You listen to it, and that's okay. And those you didn't like, okay. So it should be like a ratio, maybe. I think that would be a better metric, where you say ratio, let's say like 50% of the album you are able to keep, so that's a ratio for you. Somebody else will have something different, and it's okay, because it's streaming. It's not like you have to buy that physical album and you have to go through, like, you know, have record, like a physical record. You have to actually listen to all those songs, even the way they were sequenced. And that's another thing, like the sequencing is no longer as important as it used to, because anyone can sequence their own version of the album, so it's not as important. So I don't think it matters that much. When it's done correctly, I appreciate it, but I don't expect that anymore from anyone, from any album, quote unquote. But like the what I would consider albums are those that are intentionally trying to match the classical album format, where they have a concept, they have a way they're trying to execute it, they have a how, they have the sonics, everything. Not just some generic album where like it's just a collection of tracks that maybe go well together, maybe not. They don't have any transition between tracks. They don't have anything to relate one from the other. So that's the thing. But I think the playlist format is definitely better for streaming, because the album, well, it's hard to do, requires more investment than just a collection of songs. And yeah, labels are not willing to invest in something they know is not going to have a higher return. So from that perspective, I completely understand. Let me know in the comment section if you think I'm wilding, or if you believe too, like I do, that the album format is dead, or at least that it's not what most artists or most record labels are pushing artists to make. And don't forget to sub on your way out, and also give a like to the channel. Go watch some other videos, and I'll see you next time.